Well, hello for our third experiment for today. This is the second try of the video, so some of it's already been done. If you have yeast, that's what's going to be important. If you have yeast, you can do this one. If you don't, you can save it for later. Buy some yeast at the store. It really is should be easy to find, much easier than it's been for me. But if you do have it, sometime you can try this out. We're just going to be doing some kind of homemade ginger ale, and so all you need to do is get your piece of ginger. So this is here. It probably works best if you slice off some of this outer rind here and get to this part, and then just grind some of it up on a cheese grater like this into chunks or pieces. Preferably, the more pieces you get, the more flavor you'll get out of the ginger, and ginger has that real strong flavoring to it. I didn't include this, but you could also, instead of ginger, put in root beer extract or other things that you want to mix in there, but ginger is kind of the one that really has this specific taste. And then you're going to need a bottle that totally seals, so a 2-liter bottle will work. This is a Gatorade, it's a Gatorade bottle, and I've already put the stuff in here. But essentially, what you want to do is you need to put your yeast, and yeast is a microorganism that needs food. So sugar is your food. So like a spoonful of yeast and maybe a spoonful or two of sugar. It's not a set amount; it needs to have something to grow. And then you're going to put in your ginger extract, your ginger pieces in there, and then some water. Fill it up with water and seal it up. So what's going to happen is that yeast inside of here, which is not in this container because I don't have any, but the yeast in there is going to feed on the sugar, and that sugar then, or that yeast will produce, and it will grow, and as it grows, it will release carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide is the fizziness or the bubbles that you get when you open up a pop or something like that. And when you hear it go tss, that's releasing pressure and some of those bubbles that are coming out of the solution. It's not how they do it in when they actually make pop that we buy in the stores. They don't use yeast, but it's the substance that is produced, that is used, CO2, is the exact same in both cases. So as the yeast grows in here, it's going to produce CO2. It's going to carbonate this. The ginger and the sugar together are going to kind of make their flavor together as well. And after really the 2 to 3 days would be the max that I would do. And you can kind of tell this is going to start to get rigid. Just like if you have like a brand new 2-liter and you kind of squeeze it, it's pressurized inside there. It's okay. It's designed to have some pressure. If you let it go for too long, I doubt you'd blow the cap off of it. That is possible. It does happen sometimes when people are making drinks like it. But after 2 or 3 days, you'll get enough carbonation. You can open it up. You'll probably see some of those bubbles come out. You might want to put it in the fridge for a little while beforehand. Open it up, you'll see some of those bubbles come out. And it's a unique ginger ale. It's made of bread yeast, so you're going to taste a little bit of that yeastiness in there. If you let that kind of the sediment go to the bottom and just pour off the top, I think it tastes okay. Not great, but I think it tastes okay. If you want to try that out, it's not a recipe designed to win any contest, but it's a cool example of something called fermentation, where the yeast is fermenting in there to produce carbon dioxide. It's somewhat the same thing that if you put yeast in bread. If you ever made homemade bread before, you put yeast in there and you let it sit for a while, and that yeast will feed on, in that case, usually not so much sugar, but the wheat flour or whatever else you put in the bread that is food for the yeast, and it will rise up because the yeast is trapped in there and it produces carbon dioxide. And so as it kind of produces that gas, it will expand your ball of dough, and that's what makes things that have yeast in them have air holes. So like it's not just this really dense bread. So it rises up and makes it taste. I think it tastes a bit better, and you have it's also called leavened bread. Like in the Bible, talk about leavened and unleavened. Leavened is with yeast in it. So all those things are kind of tied together, things you can try out with. I'm sure this is one that some of your parents probably have used before. Maybe you have used before. Another thing you can do with yeast on this one. So put it in your back pocket if you don't have yeast right now and try it later, but I thought I'd show that as a third one here for today.